How Modern China Reshapes Religions. In a detailed report by Al Jazeera's Frederik Kelter, dated the 26th of September, the increasing encroachments on religious freedoms in China have been laid bare. Theresa Liu, a 58-year-old restaurant owner and devout Chinese Catholic, underscores the intensifying pressure on religious grounds, especially the nation's Catholics, who number up to 10 million. She starkly states that, quote, the government is trying to control everything about our religion, how our churches look, who our priests are, the way we pray. Officially, while the Constitution of the People's Republic of China promises freedom of religion, many, including experts like Lian in the Duke Divinity School, argue that this freedom exists only on paper. Leon bluntly notes, quote, but the Constitution is just a piece of paper. In real life in China, we are not seeing the government respecting freedom of religion. The story reveals an alarming accounts of control and repression across multiple religious groups, from the tearing down of Chinese crosses in Zhe- Z- Zhejiang Province to the widespread detention of Uyghur Muslims in Xinjiang. Moreover, President Xi sorry, oh my God, other languages are kicking my ass. Xi Jinping pushes for the sinicization of religion and seeks to mold religious practices to align with the Communist Party's ideology, as evident in actions like the demolition of religious symbols and state mandated religious teachings. Oh my goodness. Okay, apologies everyone for my difficulty in saying that. I don't know what's happening to me today, but yeah, uh foreign words are being hard for me. Anyways, um so
You
I
do
read
be-
this
you
really sorry, go ahead.
no, you do more. You do better than most people. I don't know why you're apologizing, but yeah,
Oh,
go
I love this comment. Space Elliot, other language one, Susanna zero. Actually, after this episode,
on.
it's more like other languages get, yeah, it's like a 5-0 at this point. Especially after that Polish segment. Anyways, um, so I read a really interesting article in Al Jazeera recently, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about because it kind of talks about Xi Jinping's approach to sinicization of religion. And it's interesting to think about because really sinicization is something that's been occurring in China for centuries. And it's very obvious when you look at practice of different religious traditions that are either from China, evolved within China, went through different regions, or are foreign to China and came in and then were transformed by Chinese practice and tradition. And however, Xi Jinping has his very own vision of this, right? And so he's calling for sinicization of religions, but really it's more about in line with his view of state authority and Chinese socialist characteristics, so to speak.
Mm.
Um, and so I wanted to read this quote from the article, and then you can give me your thought. Um, Over the years, she has regularly called for the sinicization of religion in China. However, it's important to note that the sinicization of religion has occurred in China for centuries, states Duke's Professor Xi. As different religions have been adopted in China, as in many countries, they have evolved to fit with the local traditions, customs, and the changing of the times. But Xi's sinicization means something different. The first time the Chinese leader publicly spoke of it was at a conference in Beijing in 2015, during which he also declared that, quote, the Communist Party could give active guidance on religions so that they could adapt themselves to socialist society, adhere to the direction of sinicized religion, and increase the standard of regulations controlling religion. And then another professor says, quote, the current wave of sinicization is driven by the party state as it seeks to change religion in China so it aligns with the Communist parties and Xi's interpretation of the dominant Chinese culture and socialist core values. And this manifests itself in the demolition of domes and basically replacing them with Chinese style tilted roofs and Buddhist style pagodas. Um, and there was this quote by this professor that I thought was so apt. He said, quote, "The communist God is a jealous God that does not want anyone to compete with its power."
Oh, that's a good quote. Very much
So,
like Yahweh.
yeah, what do you take of all this?
I don't. I mean, I don't understand how the Chinese government has, ever since after Mao, they saw. I mean, they have all the data to know that loosening up makes the country stronger. So I don't know why they don't see it now. Like, I mean, these are very, very smart people, right? And the fact that China becomes so powerful is completely, you could see the correlation, but also the causation of just being more liberal is the reason why China is now the second largest economy in the world. You as soon, like, every evidence shows that as soon as they stop controlling everything, China just exploded in economy and power and influence and everything. So I don't understand why they're going backwards. Like, ever since this new, the new government, the new, ever since Xi Jinping came to power, they're going back the Mao way, and they're going back doing it the way Mao did it. Like, why? You saw what worked. You saw how you got here. Why are you going backwards? I never understood. I want to. I wish I could know. Yeah, does that make sense? Like the confusion I'm
Yeah,
having here. Yeah.
completely. And I really liked that comparison, saying a jealous God. The communist God is a jealous God. And I think that's really
Mm,
what it's about. It's about recognizing authority that's beyond the party.
mm.
That's a threat to them. The only authority that should be recognized is the party,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
especially if you follow a religion that has a leader outside of the country's borders, like if you're a Tibetan Buddhist or if you're a Catholic and you follow the you recognize the authority of the Pope.
Mm. All right, let's move on because we have I have another show on
Oh
the
yeah, we
Persian
have
side.
made some
Two,
uh,
two,
super chats by
two super
Gasian
chats.
American. Thank you, Gasian. Saying, I was always creeped out by the emaciated Jesus on a cross. There's a belief that images of death, as in a dead Jesus on a cross, are unlucky.
Hmm.
That's interesting. That actually makes a lot of sense. Um,
It doesn't.
well, I mean,
It's
I
not
could
a.
I could see why having a dying man images and statues of a dying man posted around everywhere could creep people out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's also a
Statues
superstitious
of an
one.
execution all around all the everywhere is a bit creepy.
Yeah, it's a bit creepy. I mean, it is a death cult. It's a, you know, ET. Honestly, the whole combination of everything is just weird that became so considered to be wholesome and loving and anti-demonic religion. And like, you guys have your god, the picture of your dead god next to a cross. You eat his flesh. You
Mhm,
drink his blood.
mhm.
Like, are you guys are you not the baddies? Like, yeah, I think every time Christians go to Catholics, especially when they go to church, they have to ask, are we the baddies? We seem like that in any story, we would be the demonic ones here, right?
I
We eat
just
our God
the
and drink his blood.
yeah, the image of going of missionaries trying to explain this to other people for the first time, especially Catholics that actually believe in transubstantiation, being like,
Right.
"Yeah, so we say these words and now we're eating his flesh and blood." And
Right. You
like random
be
indigenous
gone.
people are like, "Excuse me?"
I think the proper response would be gone, demon. Minions. That would be the proper response, I think.
Remember when we were watching The Northman, and in The Northman, like all the is it Norse or Icelandic pagans like they say something about how the Christians are so demonic because of what they do to their God. They're like, look at how they treat their
Mm.
God. These people are demonic. Like, and I'm like, you
Right.
know what? That's an interesting way of putting it. They worship a
There,
dead man. Like,
there was another movie where the Vikings, somebody, I forgot the name of the movie, but in the movie, the Vikings, they had like Christian peasants working for them, but then somebody came and killed a whole bunch of the Vikings and cut them into pieces and nailed it um, onto the back of their house. And the Vikings immediately suspected that it was the Christians, because like, aren't these the people that have like their God like nailed to wood? Like, it must be the Christians who are doing this, because look at the religion. So I was like, that was kind of funny. Like,
it
hey,
is
it
really
must be the
funny because when you grow up
Christians.
Christian, you never think about it in these terms.
Right, right,
You're like,
right,
oh,
right.
whoa, when you put
Like,
it like that.
like they were like,
Um,
who would do something like this? It must be the Christians. They have their God looks like that.
Oh my gosh, were you imagine me growing up as a child in mass every
Right.
Easter Sunday singing, "Were you there when they nailed him to the tree? Were
The
you
tree.
there?" Yeah, that's what we would say.
Oh.
We would sing, "Were you there when they nailed him to the tree?"
You sang about torture as a child, and you
Oh yeah,
made it sound wholesome.
every Easter
Okay.
as part of
Okay,
the
okay.
Passion Play,
What
obviously.
would okay, singing about torture as children? Okay, okay.
For all the
Wow,
people that
wholesome.
grew up Catholics, when they or at
Mhm.
least in America or English speaking, when they heard me sing that, that just triggered memories.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
Because this is a thing. Because I heard a comedian saying talking about this, and he started singing the song, and I could sing it along with him, for word, decades later.
Oh, look at this. Read this one.
Yeah, Judy, hi Judy, is saying if Jesus was executed today, we'd all be wearing little electric chairs on our necklaces and have statues of electric chairs on all the churches. Exactly. This is a
Would you
method of
sing?
torture and execution.
How would that song? What would that be like? Sing that one. Were you there when? Can you
Were
sing
you
that?
there when they strapped him to the chair?
That's
Were
good.
you there? Oh my
That was
god.
beautiful. Okay, one more super chat. Read
Thank you
this
for
one.
the other super chat Gation, saying Jahannam, the quote, Jahannam Asylum Act assigned by Yudi sparked outrage as many Shin claims it would delay their own rebirth. I personally prefer works
Mm,
of fan fiction. So Gation is
mm.
giving him a little bit of giving us a little bit of religious fan fiction.
Do you know who makes the most amazing, gorgeous, and other adjectives that I can't use here on YouTube, blasphemous art ever? We do! And for some reason, we are giving it away for free. Download them now using the link in the description before we change our mind.